Hello everyone, and welcome to the first video of this brand new channel. I'm Dan, and as the channel name suggests, I am a pilot under training. I'm about 23 hours into my flight training, and just wanted to have a go at flight sim. I've been playing it for quite a while, since I was quite young, and it's a nice opportunity to practice some kind of basic maneuvers and navigational flying, and without, of course, the big price tag of of actual flying. And then maybe later on, depending on how these videos go, we'll maybe look at some longer navigational flights, look at different aeroplanes, and maybe do some VATSIM stuff as well, which I've tried before, but yeah, that was quite exciting. So if we take a look at where we are today, so we are at lovely Cambridge in the UK. It's fairly close to my home base, my training airfield. And so what we're going to do today is just some kind of basic circuits, just as a kind of first video, and we'll see how that goes. Currently using OBS Studio to record this, so I'll have a map in the bottom right there so you can see how we're doing. Let's have a look at the maps. So we're currently at stand 17 in parking, and we're using runway 23. And if I'm correct, 23 has a left-hand circuit, so we'll be taking off going southwest, and then we'll probably turn on our crosswind around here. It's tracking the aeroplane. See if we can make it stop doing that. There we go. Okay. Yeah, we'll kind of turn crosswind around here, and then we'll try and stay outside of Cherry Hinton on our downwind, and then depending on how far out we are, how close we can possibly turn base before this small town, because obviously you don't want to be overflying too much, although I imagine they probably get that quite a lot. And yeah, so let's see how that goes. Today we are in the Cessna 152, which I think is one of the smallest aircrafts in Microsoft Flight Simulator. I'm currently learning in the Cessna 150. It's very similar. I think it's just maybe a slightly smaller model than this, actually, which is quite funny. So let's get in the cockpit and let's get started. So, of course, there's a full checklist to go through, but you know, in the sake of keeping this entertaining, we we won't go through that in too much detail. So yeah, we'll keep this nice and short. So we'll do everything we need to do. Let's just get rid of the yoke for now. So let's just turn on our battery and alternator. Get all the avionics started up. Let's turn on our fuel. Let's get our beacon light on. Okay, mixture fully rich, parking brake is on. Okay, let's start up the engine. Interesting, maybe the fuel was already off. A bit of throttle. No. That's weird. Maybe it needs priming. Oh, there we go. Oh, that's interesting. Last time I used the 150 there didn't require much priming. Well, there you go. We have an engine now. Okay. Yeah, we don't need any of those lights just yet. We've still got the beacon on. And again, we would normally have a full checklist to go through. So a taxi checklist, a power checks, and then of course pre-takeoff checks. But in the interest of keeping this all for fun, let's not worry about that. Okay, just want to center my joystick. Sometimes decides to shudder a little bit. Try and keep 1000 RPM. Alright, let's taxi to the active runway, runway 23, which is just right behind us. So turn off the parking brake. Pretty good. It should be getting out of the way. Gonna hit him with our wing. Ouch. That would be logged as an aircraft accident, I believe. No ATC today, so we can cross that holding point. Okay, as we come onto the runway, we want to be turning on our strobe light and our landing light. Should have been using the taxi light, but oh well. Okay, on the runway. Let's just hold here. Let's set 10 degrees of flaps. Mixture's fully rich. Altimeter is set. Let's go. Let's go into the leaning forward mode. Okay, airspeed's alive, RPM's good, T's and P's are in the green, so that's 60 knots. We could have come off a bit earlier there, but oh well. Okay, let's try and climb at, say, 65. Well, I imagine that's probably a little high in the 150, 152. How are we doing? We're doing okay. I've set the weather today for scattered clouds. Quite light winds, nothing too dramatic for the first video. Okay, it's about 700 feet above the airfield. Let's turn our crosswind. Try not to let our speed drop too much. So I'm just going to put the yoke back in for you so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, what about... That's really good climb performance. Let's get those flaps up. Okay, hit our altitude, speed is quite high, so let's throttle back. Yeah, we're about where I would say, where I said we would be, approximately. Let's not get too high. Stay at 1,000 feet above mean sea level. Should give us approximately 1,000 feet above the aerodrome. Yep, don't need very much power, do we? Okay, on to our downwind leg. Quite a wide circuit this, but I just wanted to avoid that town there. I imagine they'll get hundreds of complaints. Although it might be interesting to look in the noise abatement procedures for Cambridge Airport, I'm sure. I'm sure they have some footnote in there regarding the towns. Okay, so that town just off our left pillar there. We just there. If we try and turn inside that, so just so we're not overflying. So we normally do our pre-landing checklist, of course, like brakes, undercarriage, mixture, instruments, hatches and harnesses. We'll also be fiddling with the carburetor heat, but we know that that's going to be functioning well in the simulator. Okay, turning base. Keep the runway in sight. It's quite close this, so let's actually start getting configured. So let's pull our carb heat within the white arc, set 20 degrees of flaps, and let's try not to go below 60 knots. There we are, we're doing fine. This plane climbs like a beast, so I would assume you could probably slip it down pretty quickly too. Okay, no one coming on final, which there wouldn't be because I haven't programmed it. Okay, run final, flaps to 30. Let's start bringing our altitude down. Just do a touch and go. Do maybe 3 and then go off and park. Okay, airspeed's getting a little bit low. Just kind of bring that power up, maintain attitude. There's the permanently displaced threshold, aiming for the numbers. We've made it. Throttle to idle. Doing ground effects and keep holding it off, keep holding it off. Don't let the plane land, don't let the plane land. Oh, that was beautiful. Okay, nice and settled, flaps back up. Give a bit of back pressure in there. I'm using a soft field technique just because that's what I'm used to. And put the carb heat back in. I need to set a button for that. Okay. Bring the plane up, keep the nose down, build up airspeed. This isn't the normal technique you would use on a tarmac runway. You could just keep accelerating along the ground until your initial climb out speed. Whereas I'm used to soft field, so grass field technique, where you would try and bring the wheels off the ground as soon as you can, and then keep it in ground effect, or as keep the nose down to build up airspeed, and then once you hit your initial climb out speed, then you'll start to resume a normal climb attitude. Cool, that's 700 feet. God, this thing climbs like crazy. Probably want to check what the actual VY is, because we might end up actually yeah, we might actually be quite close to it. Okay, that's about a right angle. Keep the nose down. Keep that power in until we've hit a good speed. And let's bring back that power to get settled into a nice little cruise. Bit of a long float on the last landing. I probably can bring it down a little bit slower, to be honest. There we go, outside the town. Let's turn downwind. Yeah, we don't want to be going too wide so that we're actually going to be outside. Going to be overflying that other town. Let's try and keep over this complex here. Try and go inside a little bit. I think on the map I'm using a little nav map, and gives you a nice little trail of where the airplane's been flying, which is really nice. Previously I was using an app called I think Sim Toolkit. That was pretty good, but it's a bit sort of, it's a bit slow. It's a bit clunky. Little nav map is nice and fast. Does everything you need it to do, really. It's all customizable maps, which is always a plus. A bit late for it again, but pre-landing checklist brakes off, undercarriage down, mixture is rich, propeller pitch, we can't even change it on here. Instruments are set. Didn't bother with the carb heat. And hatches and harnesses are secure. Well, I'm not actually in the aeroplane, I'm sat at home, so I'm not really that worried. Alrighty, let's bring the carb heat to hot. Let's bring the throttle down. Let's bleed off that speed. Okay, in the white arc, 20 degrees of flaps. Get that speed down to, let's try going 55 to 60 on this one. See how that works. I really should know VREF for the 152, which is the speed you should be going, the airspeed over. We should be flying over the numbers. Okay, no one on final. This is of course made a lot easier by the absence of any significant weather. Oh dear, let's bring that speed back down. I think we've currently got a 5-knot wind, which I'm looking at the windsock, actually is fairly lined up with the runway, which always makes things nice and easy. So I'm pitching for my airspeed, changing my power for the altitude. It's always a dynamic relationship, of course. There we go, that was a much better profile. Okay, power to idle, it pretty much was. Let's get into ground effect and keep bringing the nose back up. Keep bringing it up, don't let it land. Keep it coming up, keep it coming up. Oh, a little bit harder there, but that's fine. Okay, we're nice and settled. Let's bring that carb heat back in. Flaps up. Full power. Bit of back pressure in there. Raise the front, raise the nose. She wants to fly. Let's bring it up. For a small aeroplane on a tarmac runway, typically you don't really need flaps at all, provided the runway is long enough. But for a grass runway, like the ones that I'm used to, of course you would definitely be using at least 10 degrees of flaps, just to help kind of bring the aeroplane up at a slower speed because of course the first stage of flaps we call the lift flaps, because they increase the amount of lift that the aeroplane can, that the wings generate at lower altitudes. And of course the higher degrees of flaps we know as the drag flaps, because of course they provide a little bit of extra lift but a lot more drag. Okay, so that's 1,000 feet. Keep the nose down, get up to cruising speed, and bring back power. I find that cruising in flight sim is definitely more difficult, because you really can't fine tune the trim very well. To be honest, I'm not even bothering with the trim today because it's very fiddly, and of course it's currently set to neutral. That normally is the most useful trim to use when it comes to landing. Let's not descend. Okay, downwind again. Should be making radio calls, traffic calls, but like I said, that probably would be good to do in VATSIM. Start doing some of that. That'd be quite fun. Downwind checks, so brakes off when it goes down, mixture's rich, propeller pitch is fixed of course. Fuel, we had plenty of fuel today, about half a tank, which I think in these planes probably about at least 2 hours. Flaps are up, instruments are set. Didn't do the carburetor heat. Engine harnesses are all secure. Okay, let's turn base. A little bit wobbly today. Might be a slight little bit of gusting winds, but not too significant. Of course, small planes like this would really be affected by even the smallest of gusts. Okay, let's bring that power back. Pitch up a little bit. White arc, 20 degrees of flaps. Let's get it down to like 55. Oops, not too low. But this is where trim would help me maintain that airspeed a little bit better. There's nothing quite like adjusting the trim in the real aircraft. Okay, it's actually a lot nicer altitude to be at on the base to final. Although I feel like the airspeed is a little bit low. Maybe we are safer at 55. But we could just say that we're using short field technique. Okay. Oops. Let's actually line up with the runway. Let's keep it at 60. It seems to work for us. And we'll just do a full stop on this one. We'll try and put it down. Yeah, let's try and bring it down as close to the numbers as we can. Let's go power idle now, a bit fast. Let's just bleed off that speed. Didn't set 30 degrees, I forgot. 20 degrees will have to do. Into ground effect. Let's keep bringing it back, keep bringing it back. Don't let it land. That's it, nose nice and high. Oof. Nice and soft. Okay, let's bring the flaps up. Let's actually brake and try and take this exit. Not too worried about comfort at this stage. Very nice. Okay, flaps are up, carb heat is hot again. Let's turn off that landing light, and strobe light can come off. And let's taxi back. You know, let's expedite this. Let's go across the grass, live life on the wild side. We didn't even use the transponder today. Very naughty. Oh, that's quite fast. Okay, I think we were here to start with. Clear right, clear left. Let's just park right up where we started. Beautiful. There we go. Parking brake is set. Give it 1000 RPM. Make sure we're charging the battery. Don't want that going dead on us. That's a very embarrassing conversation with the aircraft owner. Okay, that's taxi light can come off. Of course, we do the magneto check. Some training organisations might get you to do a cut-off check as well, but we're not going to do that. We're just going to turn off the engine. Mixture idle cut-off. It's taking a very long time to stop. There we go. Let's turn the fuel off. Beacon can come off, and transponder's off. Radio is. Don't think we can turn it off. Oh well, doesn't matter. Okay, alternator off, battery off, and that's it. That was 3 fairly successful landings. Second one was a little bit harder, but I think definitely within limits. First one was definitely really good. So yeah, hope you enjoyed that little exercise. I think next video I might try doing a short cross country flight. Might go from Cambridge down to Duxford. Very short cross country flight, but that'll be interesting. You can try an overhead join. Yeah, no ATC just yet. I don't want to use the ATC in flight sim because it's just awful. So yeah, see you next time.